Will it be double trouble for AFC Bournemouth on Sunday? We get the chance to secure our first double of the season against the Tricky Trees. It's the visit of Nottingham Forest. Welcome to the big Back of the Net match preview. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
And also, we've got a familiar face. Now, if you watch the vlog, if you watch the opposition preview, I can't believe I'm sitting next to a traitor. Maybe I can make you a faithful. It's Dave Astbury, Forest fan. How are you?
Very well, and kind of oddly happy to be back behind enemy lines again. So lovely to be with you, lads, and nice to be talking about football again.
Yeah, and Dave, for people who didn't see your opposition preview, you have got a potted history in the area of Bournemouth, haven't you?
That's correct, Sam. Yeah, I moved here in 1989 to work for what was Plessy Defence Systems at Christchurch, and then through its various iterations, I went with it for 28 years until I took voluntary redundancy. Lived in Muddyford for quite a long time. Wasn't a beach bum or anything like that. So, and played football in the Bournemouth leagues all of that time with AFC Burton on Saturdays, and then for East Christchurch Sports and Social Club. I was manager for there for 15 years. They're still going strong. Mitch East is carrying the baton on. They're up near the top of the Sunday League. In fact, there are two big games on Sunday. Obviously the one we're about to talk about, and then East Christchurch play Hajduk, who are their big rivals in the Sunday League. So I might have to do a bit of that before I do all of this. You know,
love it.
But no, it's good to be back, and it's lovely to see you lads as well. Thank you,
mate.
Tom, we'll briefly talk about what happened on Thursday night. Obviously a 1-1 draw. On the surface, you think, you know what, that's a good point at a team that's sixth, but you watch the game and, oh my goodness, we had chances, especially in that first half. I feel really disappointed. West Ham fans will have gone away feeling a bit disappointed as well, I feel.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think that was, in context, a good point, as you say, but I think, it's probably a good thing that we're gutted, because it just shows how well we played and we had chances. But if you'd watched before the game, I did say it would be 1-1, I was right. But no, I'm pleased that we go to sixth in the league, away from home, we bossed the game, and we're the team that are disappointed. To be disappointed away at West Ham with a draw shows where we're at the moment, I think, and that's a positive place to be. Seen little things since, because Christie got man of the match on the telly, and I've seen him and Dom talking, and they're both, you could see, we should have won that, and that's a good place to be for us. And we were good, but I don't think we've been better. So to still, kind of feel like that afterwards, I think is a compliment to how we're playing at the moment, mate. West Ham were disappointing. But yeah, just one moment, and that's what can happen in this league, in that one kind of moment, and we probably didn't test keeper enough for the amount of little moments we had in and around the box. But it's a good point, and if we back it up with 3 on Sunday, then we'll definitely look at it as a good point, mate.
If you're brand new to the channel, make sure you hit the like button, but also if you're a Forest fan, just to see this man's beautiful face, press subscribe.
Make sure debatable, Sam. Debatable.
All right, debatable. And look, do you want to remember what happened the last time we played Forest at home?
Yes.
This is what happened. Sam Turridge equalises at the far post. I mean, that was Kiefer Moore who just nodded the ball back.
Well, they lost possession to Kiefer Moore, didn't they? But then he nodded it back thinking that he had Pearson behind him, and Pearson had already moved, so yeah.
Tom, why did you say yes? Did you get it mixed up? Because that was when Sam Surridge scored late on. Me and Tiggs were in the East Stand for that, so we had a really good view. I think we took the lead.
We did. Jay Nantley, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Lovely finish.
And then Sam popped up, didn't he? But I didn't know you were going to say at home after. I was thinking of all the great away days you've had there.
The game changed when Yatesy wasn't very well and had to go off, and Danilo, who just arrived, came on and actually made quite an impact.
I think it was probably a fair result in the end, if I remember rightly.
I think it was. I think you started obviously the better, and then we kind of gradually worked our way, got a foothold in the game. So
Yeah. Now, as ever, this match preview is brought to you by SofaScore. It's our favourite footballing app. Tom, you've got it on your phone. It's got real-time notifications, goal notifications faster than on TV, player and team information.
Yeah.
You like the heat maps, don't you?
Stats and heat maps, mate. Yeah,
You're all over that.
Yeah, all over that. See who's won how many aerial duels and all that. I'm a nerd for that stuff, mate. So, I do enjoy it, and I've had it for a long time. So, yeah, it's worth having, I think.
Yeah, there's a QR code on the screen now. So if you're watching on your TV, just hold your phone up and then click that. Because honestly, if you download it, it really helps us as well. Plus, we've popped a link in the description as well. It's afcbpodcast.com/SofaScore, and that's where we get our average team lineups when we do a second look. So it's worth downloading just for that alone. So, Nottingham Forest then. Since the last time we played them, Dave, it is all change. It was Steve Cooper. No, it wasn't, was it?
No, it was Nuno.
No, of course it
Nuno's
wasn't.
first
It
game.
was his first game.
At home, it was,
Yeah.
but then, obviously Nuno came in, and you know what, we were thinking, I mean, I suppose this conversation is a bit redundant considering we got the 3 points anyway, but we were thinking, oh no, here we go, managerial bounce. And to be fair, you know, there were some like moments of bounce within that game, because I thought you played very well, and
I thought we did,
let's be fair, it was maybe fortuitous that
yeah.
we got the 3 points, because there was a refereeing decision that still baffles me to this day.
And me, Sam, yes.
It was, like you say. I mean, you know, see what Dave thinks kind of with Nuno and how you've done since then. But that performance, I thought, considering the early red card, which obviously shouldn't have been, I never felt in the game that we had more players. It was quite a closely fought game.
I'd agree with
And I remember at 2-2 thinking, because you obviously got the equaliser, thinking they look more likely here. And I think it was actually clever from our point. I think we brought Kiefer Moore on, and just kind of made you worried about balls in the box. And then obviously we scored from one. But really, I don't know what you think, Dave, but I thought with 10 men, you played really well on that game.
I was really, really encouraged. It was the psychology of our lads that encouraged me. Having previously been on such a poor run, and actually having played some pretty drab games from our point of view. Fulham away was just an abysmal. The nadir, the lowest. So against you, you know me, I have this kind of almost Bournemouth phobia, because your record against us is really good.
Very good, yeah.
And I kind of went into that game thinking, well, I didn't really know what I thought, and I'll just see what is delivered to me. And I came away from that game, I remember being devastated coming out of the ground, relatively devastated. It is only football when you mention it. But thinking, if only Dom had gone shopping at the, you know,
he had a good game.
the Victoria Centre with his girl all afternoon, and said, I'll leave it to you lads. Because Dom was the difference on the day. He was superb. As you lads know, I'm a huge fan of Dom. I love the way he goes about his business. I think he's a humble lad. He works hard and he scores goals. He's got, you know, in that game he demonstrated the versatility of his game. He scored 2 beautiful headers. He was Johnny on the spot in the box. You know, but and the winning goal, I have to go back to it because it was so brilliantly carved out. The balling was terrific. You know, some of ours, because that's all they do, is they were blaming Matt Turner. Matt's not having a great time, but he wasn't to blame for that. No. That to me, that's a great centre forward's header, right? But in the sort of, you know, when the heat haze had gone, 48 hours later, I kind of thought, you know what, our lads were all right there.
Yeah, you were.
And what I will tell you about the lads who play for Nottingham Forest, and I've met some of them, they are gentlemen. They're really good lads. They're genuine, hard-working lads who try for, whether it's Steve or whether it's Nuno. But I did like the psychology, and I remember saying to somebody, and I don't know if I was being, you know, overly positive, maybe too positive based on what I'd seen. A win is on its way.
Yes.
I did not expect it to come at Newcastle on Boxing Day, especially when we went to goal down.
I was so pleased for you, because I was watching Mr. Dawes' vlog actually, and I saw you in the band. You were absolutely loving life. And,
Mate, it was wonderful, Sam.
I did think it's weird because, like go on, Sam.
Well, you're probably going to say what I was going to say.
Well, I was going to say, considering we won the game, and like you say, we've got a good record there.
Yeah.
I was weirdly after the game, and we just won and scored 3 goals, went, oh, Forest are better than I thought they'd be. And I actually think Forest now, with Nuno, I want to show at work, I think they'll get some results around the corner, because as you mentioned, Dave, I think at that time I thought, you've got a group of players there, you're never sure, they've just lost Cooper, who was well liked.
Yes.
I thought, oh no, they're grafting for the manager already, Nuno. And and I think you say Dom's the difference. I also felt at the other end of the pitch, and Awani, say if he was available, and you had a little bit more. Basically, if Dom Solanke's on your team, you probably win that game. Yeah. And I think that was the difference.
And you know what, Tom? That's a great point. So the context is like we played you the 23rd of December.
Yeah.
Now, if I kind of we beat Newcastle, and second half at Newcastle we were absolutely outstanding. The best football we've played for a long time.
It was so good.
Chris Wood was just a man possessed, and it was lovely to see for him because he's had to win us over, and he has done now. We then utterly dominate what I consider to be the worst team I've seen this season. That's Manchester United.
Yes, I agree.
Everybody overrates them, irrespective of what they did at Molineux last night.
Yeah.
And then we actually played. We had the cup game against Blackpool, but they're kind of slightly irrelevant.
Yeah.
The game at Brentford, I thought we could have got something out
Yeah,
of
no,
that.
I agree. I watched that.
We all went there wanting to put Ivan Toney in his place and couldn't quite do it.
Yeah.
The other night, we were outclassed.
Okay, yeah.
We couldn't get the ball off Arsenal. They showed
I agree with that,
they're far too good for us. But going back to your point about Taiwo, he came on at half time because dear old Woody had run himself into the ground. I think he was just absolutely out on his feet.
Yeah.
Nuno made the call, and the game changed when Taiwo came on. And I think now, looking at Sunday, the point that I'm kind of debating in my own mind is like, does Nuno say, okay, Woody, you start and we'll introduce Taiwo later, but I have a feeling
you might go the other way.
The way I think Taiwo will start, and this isn't to preempt what we're going to say later on. I think Taiwo will start because in his press conference last week, Nuno, and his press conferences are wonderful because he sits there, Nuno does, and he's like, What do you expect me to say? It's almost every the questions that are given to him. We're three intelligent guys. I think we could come up with better questions to Nuno. Yeah. And Nuno would go, "Oh right, yeah, that's a good point, David. That's a good point, Samuel. That's a good point, Tom." And Nuno goes, "I've called them all back," and by that he meant Taiwo, Anthony Elanga, and Felipe.
Yeah.
The most beautiful human being that's ever lived, and
more than Andrew Sermon.
And he that's a good call actually, Andrew Sermon. And he called them back, and it was almost like, look, I've had enough of them hanging around the injury table. Let's get them back in and get them playing. I think, based on what Taiwo did in that 45 minutes against, and Arsenal were.
Arsenal had all the ball, but when Taiwo come on, you thought, oh, Forest have got something to hurt Arsenal at the other end now.
Yes, Tom. And when we pulled that goal back, there was a definite disturbance in Arsenal.
Yes.
They've been serene. The only thing with Arsenal the other night, without digressing too much from Forest, is that if Arsenal had decided to have a crack rather than trying to walk in, I think they'd have beaten us 4 or 5. But I thought Declan was excellent.
Yeah.
Martin Odegaard, I could watch him play, and I love Bukayo Saka, and their other lads played well. I thought they would win on Tuesday night because we'd beaten 4-2 in the cup, we'd beaten 1-0 in the cup, and we'd beat them to hand the City the title. And all our lot going, they don't like it here. And I'm thinking, because you're thinking that Arsenal come here and win.
Yeah, it worked the other way.
I'm a bit contrarian, if you like. When you get this idea of a theme like that, Arsenal always lose.
You know why he's doing this, by the way? Because there's a theme that we haven't lost to him in 7. So he's trying to say the theme changes.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You know what? That brings me on nicely to our
Tactics,
head-to-head.
Tom.
Let's do the head-to-head. Let's do the head-to-head, please.
We'll do it since, 2005. Look at this. I mean, there aren't many L's, put it that way. Last time was in 2015. That was
Am I
in
right
the
in
Championship.
thinking? Was that the year that you got promoted and we won home and away?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
You see how
Weird.
this contrarian stuff
Weird,
works?
isn't it?
Yeah, very, very weird.
And what, Stuart Pearce was in charge, was he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was in charge at our home game when we lost 2-1. Yeah, I think he might have been replaced by the end, but and Britta Sombalongo, I remember causing us havoc. Do you remember the big striker?
Yeah. He was the guy who kept us up on the last day of the season against Ipswich.
He was an absolute menace, he was. But yeah, we've had some good ones since then, definitely.
So in terms of Forest, Tom, you can talk me through these results here. So since we last played them, I mean, I said to you on a show that, you know what, Forest will have looked at Bournemouth, they'd have looked at Newcastle, they'd have looked at Man United, and they would have said, actually, taking 6 points from those games is brilliant. It just probably didn't happen in the order they expected. But like Dave said, I mean, 3-1 against Newcastle, superb.
It was a surprise
and then,
that they played well, yeah.
They dominated Manchester United, I thought. And talk me through since the start of the year. Then.
Yeah, well, obviously cup's cup. We know that they obviously rotate a little bit, and they didn't get the job done against Blackpool, but they've done enough to take it back to Blackpool. It was a really good game actually. The replay, I really enjoyed that game. But they've done enough to win, get them through to the next round, which is important. The Brentford game, as you say, it was just so about Tony, wasn't it? It just felt like, this course is going to happen. Because I didn't think there was much in the game really. I think a draw might have been fair, having watched it. But yeah, that Tony storyline seemed to be the difference. And then again, the cup, another replay for him, which they're probably not too happy about, another replay, another game. But you might get to see a few different bits. You never know, you can try and swing it into a positive. Yeah. And as Dave mentioned, the Arsenal game, I felt Arsenal looked too good for the majority.
Yeah,
but
I'd agree with that.
If you keep it only 2 and then nick a goal, another 5 minutes, Arsenal were starting to get a little bit shaky. So I think they'll be pretty happy since Nuno come in with the performances and some decent results in there, mate.
So let's take a look at the form table then. Look, Tom, I'm not doing last 10. Because if we were last 10, we'd be like second, and I don't want to boost our egos a little bit. We got Davis, humility's required. 9th, there we are. Look, a few L's creeping in there, a bit of a D, but Forest there on 14th. They got a couple of wins there, sandwiched by those 4 losses either side there. Yeah. Now, Dave, let's just take a look at the league table now, because this is how the league table stands at the moment, with Forest only 2 points ahead of the drop zone. But you know one thing that concerns me, Dave, and I don't know what's happening here? FFP. Of course, Everton have been mentioned. Obviously, there's these things with Manchester City who've got 115 charges that's going to be probably settled by the time we're long gone. But what's happening? Because Forest names been mentioned, and I'm concerned.
So am I, Sam. I'm concerned for 2 reasons. One is that we're not in a position at the moment sufficient to be able to absorb any points deduction that comes, and it will happen. I'm absolutely convinced it will happen. There's almost like there's kind of an acceptance that what will be will be. Having said that, Forest have appointed a KC of great renown called Nick DeMarco to defend them in this case. He was the guy who defended Harry Toffolo over his betting charges, which. And again, you bring it without bringing up Tony. The betting charges of Harry Toffolo. Nick DeMarco took up the case. Harry got a 5-month suspended ban, and it came to light through Nick DeMarco's work with Harry Toffolo. Harry Toffolo went and said, "I did it." Right. Okay. He went and said, "I am guilty. I'm culpable." Right. It then transpired that Harry's total amount of money bet was £1,300. He won back £960. His average bet was £3.60. Right. Okay. Which I don't know what Mr. Tony was betting, but so anyway, this guy's got form that if we need to, and I think the case has been laid out this week now. Yeah. In terms of FFP, it was all about the Brennan Johnson deal. Right. If the Brennan Johnson deal had been done earlier, Forest in terms of the money, Forest are fine, I believe. Yeah. But
it's the cut-off point, wasn't it?
It's the cut-off point, Tom, that's right.
Because weirdly, if you'd accepted less, you would have been all right, which is mad, isn't it, really?
Brentford offered 18 million.
That's it.
And Forest, quite rightly, I think, because of who Brennan was and what he was doing for us at the time, no, we don't want that. They offered another, I think it's 23 or 24. We don't want that. Then Tottenham come a-calling. If Tottenham had come a-calling earlier, Forest would be clear, but they're going to get a points deduction right. So the one reason that it vexes me is there's almost kind of no way round it in terms of the actual physicality of the problem. The other thing that vexes me as a Forest supporter is we've surrendered the moral high ground, and I hate that. I look at the team, I look at teams around us. I'll tell you who's the team with the moral high ground more than any in our division at the moment is Luton Town. Right. Written off to the point of you won't win any of your 38, so Rob Edwards goes and parrots that to his lads, and then chuck in the Tom Lockie situation. Yeah. If it ends up being a sort of a straight fight, Nottingham Forest, Luton Town to stay up, Luton Town have all the morality behind them, and we don't, and that vexes me. So yeah, as you say, Sam, it is a problem, and the thing for Forest is, I do think they're playing better football under Nuno. They're playing more. What are you looking at type football than they did under Steve? Under Steve, it was conservative with a small C, and it wasn't. It was. I wanted Forest to go to places and say, "We're Nottingham Forest. This is our history. Let's use it to batter you." But they don't. I tell you, they make themselves. We've become really susceptible and vulnerable, and this is no disrespect to any of the clubs I'm about to mention: AFC Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton, Luton Town. Burnley to a certain extent, they kind of think there's big Nottingham Forest will knock them over. And I want us to display some humility. I'd like it to come from the top. I don't believe we entirely get it. But yeah, it's not a good situation. I can't come on a show like this with you lovely lads and point the finger at anybody. Not that I would do.
Yeah, of course not.
But I feel like some of my arguments are neutered by the fact that somebody can only turn around and go, well, you've got points deducted, you've got charge against you, Dave, and it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
you know
no, I
what I'm
get that. Obviously,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what transpires. But what's going to transpire on Sunday? That's what we're all concerned about. In AFC Bournemouth team news, Dango Ouattara, he's available again after returning from international duty, of course. Burkina Faso out of AFCON. Lloyd Kelly went off injured at West Ham, but it sounds like it was only cramp.
Yes, well, that's what Andoni said, that no
Good
one's...
to have him back for you, lads, I think.
Yeah, big.
Although he did give away the pen.
He did give away the pen, but on the whole, he was brilliant. I felt for him because he was brilliant, wasn't he, before that? But yeah, it turns out it was just kind of cramping, Andoni said, so he should be fine. Unau, I don't think will be available, the new signing, which even if he was, he'd probably just be sat on the bench. But I think it's something to do with the visa and that. It might mean that he only comes in and doesn't get a day's training before the game. So he's hoping he'll be back more next week. But apart from that, we're in a decent spot. It's just obviously Max Aaron's still out, obviously James Hill, Tyler Adams long term. So yeah, but we're in a decent spot.
So Dave, during the transfer window, how many, like 21 signings was it this time? Or what?
Yeah, they come right down,
There's another, comedy basic that vexes me. Yeah, and again, there's nothing I can do about that because that's what my club is on. But I think this window, and I think generally speaking for all the clubs,
that's quite
the Everton Forest situation has frightened them.
Everyone's scared
from a lot of business.
I think you're right.
That said, we have done a bit. Yeah, well, this has been our Achilles heel. Matt Turner's a lovely lad who tries to, but unfortunately isn't good enough.
It's not good goal.
In a way, if you could get the pods out, that film The Fly, and you put Blackademus in one pod and Matt Turner in the other, and blend them, as long as a fly or an ant doesn't get in, you might have a good goalkeeper, because I think Blackademus is better with his feet than Matt is, and Matt's probably a better shot stopper. Yeah. But the two of them, as individuals, aren't good enough. Now, they've signed Matt Sells.
Yeah, I don't know much
about whom I know very little.
No, yeah, I'm saying.
So I would imagine, again, Sunday I'd like to see him given a start. If we're going to bring him in, get him in. I think it was a loan for Gio Reyna.
That's a good signing,
he's
from
coming from Dortmund, there's a young lad called Rodrigo Ribeiro who's come from Sporting Lisbon. He's only 18, a striker. Oral Mangala.
That's what I was about to say. I'm surprised with that.
Oral Mangala's gone, and that
he's been playing regularly.
I think he is the guy, or was the guy in our squad, who retained possession better than anybody else. You could feed the ball into Oral and he'd keep it for you for a while.
Sat in front of that back four, dictated it. He's been playing, so I can believe that he's gone.
Well, I kind of can believe he's gone because there's FFP and there's a lot of money in that loan move. Yeah. I think there's a certain amount of money involved, and then it increases if he becomes a permanent signing with Leon at the end of the season. But I mean, the weird thing is, we all knew he was going on Tuesday night, and there he was out in the middle against Arsenal.
Yeah, when he played, I thought, maybe he's not going.
Yeah. And we were like, sort of looked at the phone before the game, walking into the city, and then you go, hang on, what's Errol doing out there? He's a grand lad, he's a good footballer, I think he's improved with us. Yeah, if the long-term philosophy was to bring people in, build up their sales value and then make profit, then the Oral Mangala thing is something that Forest, amidst all the, and it is chaotic at times at our club, and I wish it wasn't. I wish the things would settle on the table, But that is a good piece of business, I think. But I don't see that we've got a ready-made replacement for
That's
him.
what I was thinking.
So it's a difficult one.
Difficult.
Well, the one I always worry about, mate, is you kind of always say about player to watch and stuff.
You're going to say it.
I think it's Morgan Gibbs White.
Yeah.
I think he's so good. And I always remember when we got promoted, he was on loan from Wolves at Sheffield United.
That's right, yes.
And I remember at Sheffield United were obviously competing with us and stuff. And I remember him just looking a level above everyone on the pitch when we played him that time away from home. And he's a top player. He's one that I think really should be. He's probably unfortunate because of the options England have in that role.
Absolutely.
Because I think he is like another level at times. So he's one player that I think, because you look at Everton, for example, someone that you're competing with, and obviously the points deductions, And there's part of Everton, I think, they've got a little bit more to stay up if you both had deductions. But then I think, have they got Gibbs White? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think he's the type of player you go, give him the responsibility.
And do you know what, Tom?
He's shown some leadership qualities now, I think.
Mate,
yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. You've segued into my thinking. I've watched Morgan. I mean, that season when he was at Sheffield United, we played them 4 times. League, home and away.
Yeah.
1-1 and then 1-1 at our place, 1-1 at their place. And then obviously the playoff semi-finals, 2-1 at their place, 2-1 to them at our place.
Good games.
And he was the best player on the field in all 4 games. The only thing is he missed, it was his penalty that Brice Samba saved to send us to Wembley.
Yes.
But what I love about him, the key thing with Morgan Gibbs White is, Morgan, we've paid all this money for you. And Morgan, if he was sat here with us, he'd say, do you know what, Dave? I can't stop thinking about it. I'm so aware of it. I'm aware of the responsibility I have to the club. And he's a lovely, lovely lad. He's just become a dad, and I think that's helping him. I think the other night when he saw his big Nigerian mate up from him, I've got Taiwo back now. Not that he would have anything against Woody, but... And I go at the leadership bit. If you remember, we played Manchester United. It was a tea time kickoff, and it was on
yes,
Sky.
I do remember. Yeah.
There was the bit that went viral where he was in the huddle.
Yes.
And he was going, look at Manchester United, look at their faces. They don't really want to be here. And he set the tone before it, and then he set the tone in the game. About 60 minutes of that game, down near the Trent end where I sit, almost right in front of me actually, he went through Scott McTominay, he dealt with Raphael Varane, and then there was somebody else he dealt with, and he got up, and whoever the referee was that night, Morgan got up, he's got the ball under his arm, and he's going, I've won the ball 3 whatever in times, you know what I mean?
He's definitely taking
and everybody in the ground got
now.
a boost from it, he's just...
Yeah, I rate him a lot.
You know, a lot of these young lads who sign for big amounts of money could quite easily just forget the outlay that was invested in them. Morgan, I think Morgan, he enjoys the responsibility. I mean, to be fair to Steve Cooper, you know, he kind of, I think Steve just ran out of road and he ran out of energy. But one of his genius last strokes at Forest was to make Morgan captain.
Yes.
You want the responsibility, son? I'll give it you.
He worked with him at Swansea, didn't he? So he knew his character, which I think helps.
His loan spell at Swansea was fantastic, and he got caught short by injury. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, he's top player.
Yeah. So Tom, in terms of the Forest absentees, now we know that Divock Origi's been out injured. International duty though, AFCON and all that. I mean, Willy Bolly was involved, Serge Aurier, Sangara, etc.
Not Aina, as he said, at Nigeria.
He's played really well for Nigeria.
Yeah, he is, and they're probably the favourites now, actually.
Now, the 2 players for Senegal have returned.
Yeah, but you never know how quickly they're
exactly.
Back.
So you know what? Doing the teams will be very tasty. In a second, we're going to rattle through our predicted Bournemouth side and also the Forest side with Dave. He's going to do it instead of Tom. I wonder if Tom would be more accurate. You never know. But before we talk about that, Tom, we need to talk about what kind of content people can expect on Back of the Net over the next few days.
You tell me, Sam.
Very busy. So fan reaction after Sunday.
Yeah, of course. Monday vlog.
Yeah.
Monday vlog will be out. We'll do a second look as well for the evening, won't we?
And then the podcast will come out on the Tuesday.
Yeah. Premier League show?
Premier League show on YouTube. And then into our Fulham preview. So there's some reasons to subscribe. Right, Tom, I'm going to give you 60 seconds.
Oh, God.
Talk me through the Bournemouth side that you think is going to be starting on Saturday.
Okay,
on Sunday, sorry, go on.
Yeah, so 17-year-old Callum McKenna in goal. No, it's going to be Neto in goal, obviously. Back 4, definitely stick with Smithy. Really good to see him get through 90. Zabani and Salesi will continue as centre-halves. I've got a feeling, I'm just going to take the gamble that Kirkes will play left-back. Yeah. Because I think Kirkes and Kelly have both been injured, both left-backs. Kelly come off with cramps. I think he'll look at it the other way. Start Kirkes, bring Kelly on, maybe. So I'm going to go Kirkes. I think Cook and Christie will continue as the 2. I actually think Clivert's going to come back in the 10 role instead of Alex Scott for that pace. And then I'm going to continue with Tavernier and Semenyo on the wings. They can rotate, obviously, and Dom Solanke through the middle to get a couple of goals again, maybe 4.
Right, I'll give you a similar amount of time, 60 seconds, Dave. Good luck with it. Go on.
Which keeper?
I think Matt Sells will make his debut. My little World Cup winner who carried Argentina and Messi's dream on his shoulders all the way from the halfway line to that penalty. Gonzalo Montiel, despite a relatively poor game against Salah, I think he'll start back. I think Nuno Tavares will come back in for the admirable Harry Toffolo at left back. Our centre halves will be Murillo. Good. What a character. And a lad I'm actually cautiously excited about, a lad called Andrew Baba Daly, who signed from Norwich. he's looked very competent since he's come into the side. So I think that'll be the back four. I think Ryan Yates will take Oral Mangala's place. Nico Dominguez will play, little Argentinian guy, and then I think it'll be Morgan. Gibbs White will captain and play midfield. Then I do believe Taiwo will start as centre forward. Personally speaking, I'd like to see Callum Hudson-Odoi start on the right, and if he's, I don't believe he is fully fit, but if he was, I'd like to see Anthony Elanga play. But I think there'll be somebody else coming for Anthony Elanga, and who that will be at the moment, I do not know.
Is Danilo available, by the way? But you think he'll just be on the Danilo? Is he available?
Beg your pardon. How could I forget my Brazilian nephew? He knows more about my club than I do.
I just thought, is Danilo not available?
Yeah, Danilo would definitely play. Yeah, he's.
Would you bring him in for Dominguez or maybe for Elanga, and play Dominguez off?
Keep Elanga off. Yes, sorry, Tom. Absolutely. Danilo. He's just beginning to come back to what he was at the end of last season. Do you remember he had that really good burst he scored against Brighton? He scored a great goal against Southampton. And Danny's just got his bits and bobs together. And Danilo has to be in,
There you go. There you go.
I got there in the end.
Tom, Tom, the referee that we got has got a 100% record.
Oh, I know it is.
Who?
It's what's her name?
Rebecca Welch.
Rebecca Welch.
QPR game.
QPR game. Yeah, she did all right actually in that.
Apparently, she had a shocker in the week in the Championship. I saw a few people saying it, But yeah, like I say, we've had her once and we won the game, and I can't remember any horrible decisions, so we'll take that.
We're happy with 100% record. Tom, you got a very good prediction record. Brilliant last game. What's the score going to be, Dave? Maybe close your ears.
Got to be confident at home. I've got to be. Like I say, away at West Ham, I was kind of saying a draw will be decent. I think we'll just nick it. I think it'll be a tough game. I'm going to go 2-1 for Bournemouth. Obviously, I've got to back the boys at home, but I think it'll be a hard game. I think it'll be quite closely contested. Hoping we'll just have a little bit too much, but you never know. I think they'll cause us problems, mate. I think hopefully if we could just that home crowd maybe get behind us and just have a little bit too much. But wouldn't shock me if Forest nick something. It really wouldn't. And like Dave mentioned, when it's 7 games about losing to them, you think, it's got to come to an end at some point.
It's like a roulette wheel, isn't it?
Yeah, let's leave it for a while.
At some point, it's going to land on black.
Yeah.
What are you going for?
I'd take a point now. I really would. When we spoke before Christmas, we had a head and a heart, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
My head says Bournemouth to win 2-1 because they have that little extra quality, which is reflected in their standings in the table at the moment.
I mean, are we sure the game's on at this point? I mean, there is a bit of a breeze.
It's windy. I saw a bit of wind then and thought, was Dave all right?
I think I've got the wind, not Bournemouth. All right. Anyway, before we go into that, cul-de-sac of nonsense, I think. Like I said, a point, I'd be chuffed to bits with a point.
You're in a position where any away point is grab it,
Tom,
isn't it?
Yeah. But I just...
Your home form,
if I was sitting here as a neutral, and this wasn't, after my family, the love of my life, I'd say, Bournemouth win that. Okay. But like you say, Tom, I don't think it's as cut and dried as it might have been at another time, because I do believe that Nuno's instilling something. Whether it's enough to keep us up at the end of the season, time will tell. But I do think will be an irritation.
I agree with that.
And based on that, he'll be saying, you stress them with 10. If you remember, we did the preview, didn't we, Sam? And I said, if we can just stress AFC Bournemouth, and I think we did. Yeah. So he'll be saying, you did it with 10, now try and do it with 11. So I tell you what would be interesting. If we nick an early goal.
Yeah, 100%.
That would make it very interesting. But I just believe you're a better team than we are.
I'm hoping Andoni will do the opposite in terms of, I agree with what you're saying, that you've done it with 10. I hope he goes, look how difficult a game it was when they had 10.
Yeah.
So switch on, boys. This is a difficult game.
So what's your scoreline then? Did you have a scoreline?
2-1. 2-1 to Bournemouth.
Okay.
You know what? That's what I'm going for as well. We've got a
hat trick. Let's go 2-1.
We've got a hat trick.
No originality.
Definitely not going to be 2-1 now. Yeah.
Look, it's been an absolute pleasure. We could talk for ages. I'm absolutely certain. But Dave, a pleasure to have you on, sir.
Thank you, mate.
Superb,
Thank you very
mate.
much.
And Tom, as ever, brilliant to have you on, buddy.
Cheers, Can I just say as well, thank you to all the kindness that you lads have shown me. This is, personally speaking, mate, it's a very tough time in my life. I've not been able to really do one of these for a while because everything seemed, about football seemed trite and trivial. But to sit with you two gentlemen and talk about this has been a real pleasure and a lovely distraction. So thank you very much. And best of wishes to everybody at Nottingham Forest who's travelling and watching, and the same to everybody who supports AFC Bournemouth. Enjoy the game. It's not the be all and end all, but it's a fantastic distraction.
Love it. Couldn't have put it better myself. Make sure you do the usual things, like and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow at Dean Court. Love the cherries.
Shame we got beaten now, isn't it? He's a nice guy.